The name of the session is You've Got Technology, Now What, right? And what we've been focusing on this afternoon is we said, hey, there's a lot of technology out there. Technology's great. Technology can help. Technology can provide accessibility options. But the problem is rarely does technology alone increase student achievement, right? The part that really seems to be missing is the strategies. Like, what instructional strategies can you take and plug into that technology so that you can not only provide accessibility, but you can provide sound instruction as well, right? And we use the model here of the TPAC model that says if you really want students to achieve, you need to have technology, you need to have strategies, and you need to have content, right? And the sweet spot is right there in the middle. So we kind of started talking a bit about that, and we're going to throw some technology examples in here, but you guys are going to see tons of technology. There's a whole vendor hall with all the technology you can imagine in there. So we've been focusing on instructional methods today. Do you know where that thing is? Ah. And so we brought up, Jason and I have been working on a little ebook called 8 Student Achievement Activators. So we found 8 really good strategies that you can use with a lot of different technology, right? So you can take these strategies and plug it in with your iPads or your Chromebooks or your Macs or your PCs, your communication devices, whatever it may be you have. We're wrapping this up. It'll be ready in a week or two. So Jason actually has an iPad in his hand. It didn't make it all the way through earlier today. But if you want a copy of this when it's ready, just put your name and your email there and hit submit. Hand it to the next person. You'll get a copy of this. Last housekeeping thing here is that rather than just tell you guys, here are 8 strategies, see you later, we wanted to put them in a format that makes sense, right? And so we use the framework of universal design for learning, and without getting into it again, what we really want to look at is, universal design for learning has these 3 principles. It has multiple means of representation, expression, and engagement. So you look at representation, that's the time of the day that you're representing information to students, you're teaching them stuff, you're delivering content to them, right? Then it flips at some point, and they're demonstrating their knowledge back to you, right? You want to make sure they got that information. And then the engagement piece, we try to simplify it. We say if you do representation right and you do expression right, you automatically get engagement. So we shared, in part 1, we shared several evidence-based strategies that you can use when representing content, and we threw some ways to use that with technology. That's what we talked about in part 1, and now in part 2, we're getting ready to flip. I got one more part here to show in this representation piece, but we're getting ready to flip and say, okay, so what are some evidence-based strategies that help students demonstrate their knowledge, right? Demonstrate that they really learn the content that you've been trying to teach them. And that's where we're going to spend the afternoon at today. So Jason, before we get into it, was there something you wanted to address?
Yeah. I had some great questions during the break, and I thought it'd be worthwhile to address just a few of those questions. One of our colleagues, she asked the question, she brought up her iPad, and she said, hey, can I create forms on my iPad? So she downloaded Google Drive, got in there, and we were not able to do it on her iPad. So I said, well, let me look into this, because there's always many twists and turns on why technology doesn't work. So I got my iPad, looked around, and yes, you can create forms in Google Drive on your iPad. But what we had to do was I had to log in on the web on my iPad. I use Google Chrome, but you can use a browser. And then when you log in, it provides you the mobile version. Now, because of that, using the mobile version of Google Drive, it only allows you to create a spreadsheet or a document, like a Word document. But what I had to do is if you look on that page, you can find Use Desktop Version. And if you click Use Desktop Version, it allows you to create a form on your iPad. So that's long-winded, but you get the idea. Yes, you can do it. You just need to find the desktop version. The second question is, this was just great feedback. She said, when all of my students, if I'm doing that peer tutoring strategy using that form where they're paired up and they're answering questions and it gives them feedback and videos, can I see what they're doing? And yes, you absolutely can. Well, let me rephrase that. You may see the answers that they put in because it dumps them in spreadsheets. I did this one project with the school district where we're doing some behavioral rating scales, and we did it on every student in the district. The homeroom teachers did it for every student, and we were collecting 12 to 13,000 students.